Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Joe in Love, here with your AEW Dynamite review for September 8th, 2021. The fall show for AEW All Out. Of course, All Out was a historic pay per view, getting the Butcher back, the first sighting of Minoru Suzuki, of course, and AEW. Ruby Soho, Zal Elite, Adam Cole, and Brian Danielson as well. So, how would Dynamite follow this glorious pay per view? I mean, yes, it was a follow show, but did a swell job at progressing storylines, seeing where the tides turn um, after All Out as we gear towards the fall, the winter, and soon full gear in due time. But again, thank you for joining me. If you're new to this channel, new to these videos, if you want to see more, be sure to click that subscribe as well as click that like button as well if you like this video. But to start off with the review was very interesting way, but just the ending was strange, and I get it. But Malakai Black, who has been going through the road of the Nightmare Family on the way back to Cody Rhodes, here against Cody's older brother Dustin, and what was a solid match. Excalibur wasn't on commentary. Apparently, I think JR said he was getting married or something. But with that, congrats to Excalibur. But nonetheless, it was most it was Taz, Tony Schiavone, and JR whole night, and I guess that kind of made it feel more of a fall show in a way without Excalibur, but still did a fine job. But getting into the match, so they were fighting outside, and Dustin he was backdropped through the table by Black, took him out for a little bit. Then they were getting back to ring, and Black hit a knee to the gut for a near fall, kitchen sink style. Rhodes fought back with some offense, hit a snap power slam for a near fall, followed up with a sunset flip for another 2 count, and then and a good spot of the match. So Dustin had Black in the corner and did the usual 10 punches in the corner, but slid out and landed a kick to back up, I would say, to Dustin's hamstring area, which knocked Dustin off the ropes and then landed a running knee to the face for a near fall. Good spot. So then Black, he went outside the ring and he looked underneath and found the boot that Cody took off uh, after Black beat him a while ago. So He took the boot and threw it in Dustin's face. Dustin's face. Tried to toy with him. And then Dustin, you could see, got all amped up. And he was really firing with offense. He had Destroyer uh, for a near fall on Black. And then the turnbuckle in the corner, one of the turnbuckles in the corner was exposed. So, in a good spot, Black swept the feet and tripped Dustin, in which he went face first into this exposed turnbuckle. And Black hit, well, he went for the Sin Eater, but I'm guessing the timing was off because Black connected with the back of Dustin, not the jaw or chin of Dustin. He hit Dustin's back with his foot. So looks strange, but they tried to sell it. Um, in the end, 1, 2, 3 for Black. He vanquishes Dustin, and in a quick cutaway to the next thing, which kind of was strange. But Black, after this, we're going to get the rematch, Cody Rhodes. Question is when, Arthur Ashe is in 2 weeks. Perhaps they do that match for then. We'll see, but you can't not like the how Black's introduction has been to AEW thus far. So then CM Punk then came out. He addressed the Cincinnati audience. He compared fighting Darby Allin on Sunday to a violent bicycle. He was talking about the main event between Jon Moxley and Suzuki. So keep an eye on that match. And Brian Pillman's Jr.'s, I believe, mother and sister, they were at ringside. And Punk praised the mother of Brian Pillman Jr. and, of course, Brian Pillman's widow in the front row that they were sitting at ringside. And he talked about the pay-per-view. Talked about Ruby Soho, Suzuki, Cole, Danielson, a bunch. And then all of a sudden we started to hear Taz music, or Taz voice. He was on commentary, of course, because Excalibur was there, but so he got a microphone and interrupted CM Punk. So he threatened Punk about don't bring up the names about Team Taz, and that while it's Punk, because he was asking the crowd what his next move should be. And then, of course, we got Taz, and they sprung up a bunch of names like Moxley, etc. So, excuse me. Because one of the names that CM Punk brought up in an interview about who he liked to face in AEW one of the names was Ricky Starks. So after Taz was rambling on, Punk said, "Bring me Starks, bring me Hook, and bring me Hobbs." And he said, "Beat me if you can, survive if I let you." So, great line. Um, I mean, CM Punk versus Ricky Starks, that's a hell of a match in the making. One that I would love to see. You know, Ricky Starks, he's trying to go for his uprise. Being in the ring with CM Punk would absolutely be an uproar for him. Now, he said bring Hobbs and Hook as well. I mean, I don't think Hook is ready, of course. And Hobbs, I mean, that's not really a match I would be looking forward to. But, CM Punk, he needs victories. I mean, Hobbs, yes, he's one of the young guns, and people will complain, oh, he's coming in and he's going over the young talent. Well, young talent that's not ready, and CM Punk, he just came into AEW, so losing would be big victories for, say, Hobbs, Starks, etc. But that is a match I think many are got their eyes on, and seems to be the next move for CM Punk. So Hobbs, of course, was already out there. He took on Dante Martin after the break. So it was a fun match, two of the young guns in AEW. This is basically a showcase of what both can do, both looking into the future of the company. Dante Martin, and now, what was a good spot? Now, I don't know if Dante is Martin's brother Darius. I'm guessing he's still out with an injury, but Top Flight is still really young, so I mean, I imagine once they get old, like Private Party, once they get older and mature more, these two teams will probably be among the faces of the tag team division. So Hobbs caught Martin in a suicida and threw him into the ring post, which was kind of brutal. So then threw him into the barricade, and then as they came back from break, Hulk tried to stop Martin on the apron, but Dante actually flew over Hook and landed onto Hobbs and a Tope con Hero. And then Hobbs hit a spinebuster or a powerbomb for the win. Saw victory again, showcase of the future, and a fallout show for it, AEW. So good, good. Then we had MJF, which was probably the highlight of the show. He was with Wardlow. Obviously, he was not happy coming off his loss on Sunday to Jericho. But so he just, for the few minutes that he had, he just shit on over the Cincinnati crowd. He called out, he said they want to be like him. He called it shit Cincinnati. He shit on the Cincinnati Reds, who haven't won a World Series since 1990. And we saw some Bengals jerseys. I missed the bet, but I wouldn't be surprised if you shit on the Bengals for not winning a playoff game since the 90s. That's just thought. So, then of course, because Pillman's sister and mother, they were in the front row. He got he got in front of him and he shit on Pillman's sister, who was apparently pregnant, and she said some stuff back at him. And then we heard Brian Pillman Jr.'s music play. He came out wearing a Cincinnati Bengals jersey. So he called MJF Maxwell Jerkoff Friedman. And he said, Cincinnati is full of badasses. Badasses like Jon Moxley and Brian Pillman. And he said, welcome to the jungle. So, excuse me, so MJF said something about Pillman's mother. So, he was hot and stormed to the ring, but Wardlow got in front of MJF, and MJF was like, whoa, you're going to protect me, Wardlow? Much like you did on Sunday. So this got made Wardlow a little angry. So he said, just go stand in the corner and be pretty. So that kind of ticked off Wardlow, and obviously MJF is not happy. So we got face to face of MJF and Ryan Pillman Jr. Good stuff. I mean, two young guys, so now they're looking towards the future of AEW. So Pillman Jr., he took down MJF, went down with some shots, but Wardlow, I mean, he protected MJF, but he was like, really? Do I have to? So he laid out Pillman Jr., I believe, with German suplex, and then Garrison, his tag team partner of the Varsity Blondes, he came out to try save, but he was hit with the ring by MJF, and that was basically it. So, and apparently, because they did a segment later in the show, we got Brian Pillman Jr. versus MJF and Arthur Ashe in 2 weeks. The first match scheduled for the New York Stadium show in Queens in 2 weeks will be MJF and Ryan Pillman Jr. Sounds good. I mean, Pillman is so relatively young when it comes to the wrestling business, and against MJF, who's arguably the best heel in the business, it's really funny. And knowing how MJF is actually younger than Pillman Jr. So then we got Ruby Soho, her AEW Dynamite an in-ring debut on Dynamite. Of course, she won the Casino Battle Royal on Sunday. She gets a future title shot against Britt Baker. She was here for Jamie Hayter, and it was uh, it was kind of a hard hitting, almost seemed a little botchy, but still was a physical match between the two. Soho, she hit a unique tornado DT popping off the top rope on Hayter for a near fall. And it looked like, this is my guess, I'm guessing Soho went for a Poison Rana to Jamie Hayter, but Hayter like lost her balance or whatever, so and it said Hayter fell face first, so for a near fall. So there was that. Um, Hayter landed a neckbreaker and a sliding lariat for a near fall, and then what was used to be called the riot kick. I'm not sure what she calls it anymore, but she landed it for the win on Hayter. Afterwards, she was beat down by Baker and Rebel. Riho then came out, tried for a save. Riho, she's back on Dynamite and a very long time. First time since definitely a while. And then Chris Statlander, she came in for a save for Riho and Ruby Soho. So, and that was it. But so it was a quality match, I would say, between Ruby Soho and Jamie Hayter. So then we had a six-man tag, Dark Order, Evil Sue Grayson and John Silver's Johnny Hungy versus FTR and Sean Spears of the Pinnacle, who were with Tully Blanchard and Wardlow. So this is okay. I mean, kind of wasn't invested in this match. I mean, we know how the Dark Order is kind of disintegrating from within, which I believe will lead to Bray Wyatt or Wyndham Rotunda as debut. And FTR, it's good to see them in action again, especially considering Cash's injury he suffered against Santana Ortiz. So, good to see them again. Ultimately, it was C4 by Spears to Silvers for the win. Spears gets victory and got some more fighting among the Dark Order after Anna Jay and Ty Conti. They came out looking confused because Anna Jay tried to be the voice of reason earlier and it was it, but I see where it's headed. So then afterwards, Tony Blanchard, he was backstage with Tony Schiavone, and he said that's what real leadership is. And that he asked Tony Khan to book for next week Darby Allin versus Shawn Spears. I can get behind that. Obviously, they have history, hence the victory for Spears here. I would be down with it. So, yeah. So then we got the Elite. The Elite. They came out. Obviously, the Young Bucks were limping, showing they were hurting, selling their injuries from uh, that brutal, great steel cage match for the Lucha Brothers on Sunday. So they came out and whatever Nick Jackson was wearing, I mean, if he's doing his best trying to be obnoxious, can't complain as far as that aspect. So they introduced Adam Cole, um, who his theme music, I mean, I enjoy. Uh, Mikey Ruckus, who's like the top guy for the AEW music and for the wrestlers, I mean, he's done a very good job for the music in AEW. I mean, you got the Lucha Brothers theme, you got Lance Archer's theme, Jon Moxley, uh, his tweet theme, Adam Cole's theme here. Uh, yeah, just many uh, that you can't complain about. So Adam Cole came out and the first thing he did, which was hilarious. So he took the microphone and Tony Schiavone, who was still in the ring, he went face to face with Tony Schiavone. He said, I know that you were close with Britt Baker, but if you ever look at her wrong, the wrong way, I will personally kick your ass. So that was funny. Adam Cole threatening Tony Schiavone over his Bay. So they told Tony Schiavone to get out of the ring, you nerd. So it took a while, but Schiavone got out of the ring. So he said that now the elite is complete, baby. That the Young Bucks are the best tag team ever. Kenny Omega is the one of a kind, once in a generation wrestler, and the AEW Championship proves it. And now they have Adam Cole. So Kenny Omega, he took the microphone and he said, calls for a celebration, but one thing he doesn't like is interruptions. Then all of a sudden we heard, once again, Fly the Valkyries. Bryan Danielson's music plays, and not as big as the reaction as Chicago, but still good. So Danielson came out and Kenny Omega asked if he could have the ring to himself. So the rest of the elite, they fled, got out of the ring. So Danielson, he took the microphone out of Omega's hands. He asked them if they want to see Bryan Danielson fight Kenny Omega. And Omega said it doesn't work like that. So then Danielson said that you don't want to fight because you know that you are not on my level. So that ticked off Omega, and he went to swing at Danielson, but Danielson locked in the label lock, or whichever he's calling it. Omega was tapping quickly, and the rest of the elite, they came in to beat down Bryan. Then Jurassic Express and Christian Cage, they showed up to even the odds, and it was a big brawl. And there's that. But apparently next week we get Adam Cole his in-ring debut on Dynamite. So that's an interesting match to look forward to. Could be against Jungle Boy. I mean, from what we've seen, I wouldn't mind it. Although I think that could be a feud. I would not mind that being Adam Cole's first match in AEW. So there's that, and now the main event. I mean, one thing you love about Dynamite is mostly shows just flow by, and that's the way it kind of felt for me. So now we get to the main event. Jon Moxley versus Minoru Suzuki. Suzuki obviously had that exchange with Moxley after Moxley beat Kojima all out, and they had that solid exchange. This match was as you'd expect. It was hard hitting. Uh, they beat the crap out of each other. The only thing I would critique though is I kind of wish this match was a little longer. It felt a little short to me when I looked at the clock, but it did what it did. Uh, Moxley hit a big lariat for a near fall after a double arm DT. Suzuki was very much busted open over his right eye. That was a big cut. I'm not sure how it happened, but geez, it was not sure what to say, but he he also took some blood. He saw it off his eye, and he licked it. Just a sick visual, but that's how sick Suzuki is. So in the end, Moxley, after getting out of a sleeper hold, he hit the paradigm shift, which I must say the paradigm shift is looking a little bit softer these days. I mean, it's looking more like a double arm suplex. That's just my take. But nonetheless, Moxley hits the paradigm shift. 1, 2, 3. Moxley conquests over Suzuki, and he celebrated with the Cincinnati crowd in his hometown afterwards. So, solid victory for Mox, and that was the end of the Fall show. I mean, it flowed nicely. I mean, again, it's good how these 2 hours of Dynamite kind of flow by, and you're not like, oh, looking at the time to figure it's like what's gonna end, or I mean, with this roster now, I think we're gonna have more of these Dynamites where you're just like, geez, it's already that time. Wow, but nonetheless, I would say it was good for what it was, being a follow show for an amazing All Out. Uh, but that's the episode for you guys. Thank you for joining me. Uh, Once again, if you like this video, click that like as well if you want to see more. Plus, if you haven't, check out my AEW All Out review. I posted on Monday, so you can see that if you want to. Also, if you want to see more, be sure to click the subscribe button. But there's that. So thank you. I'll be back next week with our reviews as well as sports movie topics. So, or Saturday actually with AEW Rampage. So see you guys Saturday for Rampage. So thank you. Be safe. Peace.